You know, it's interesting. We talk about Minnesota here. We have 245 acres. Over in Wisconsin, where we hunt, we have about 30 acres of woods, 12 acres of field, something like that. So a huge contrast between the two. But we have a lot of stands and blinds in both locations. And I want to do that because I want to come in one way, I want to go out another. I want to hunt on this side of the property, this height of, on the property, back and up high and one morning, and then down low and on the other side in the afternoon. I want to really vary where I sit so I'm not applying a lot of hunting pressure. But let's face it, not all of you can have 8-9 stands on 40 acres or 20 stands on 245 acres or have those parcels sizes to begin with. Maybe you're hunting public land. So I wanted to discuss, but it's interesting. I'm looking at this as, if you have one stand, what ingredients do you need for that stand to be an incredible stand location, one that you can count on and use a lot, get in and out. And so I want to focus on that, but at the same time, with every stand location we have, we're looking at it as if it's the only stand location we have. I hope that makes sense, because these ingredients don't really matter if you have one stand you're choosing, 2 or 10, 15, whatever that number is that you're really looking at. I would say an average person has 3 or 4 stands, here or there. This stand location in particular, Dylan and I were thinking about it. I had already thought about this one, and then Dylan brought up this one. So a lot of times I'll ask Dylan a question with already having a couple in mind of, hey, what do you think about that perfect stand location that someone can use morning, evening, all around? And he said, what about that stand, we saw a bow out of, or whatever he said. And this is one we saw a bow out of last year. Dylan and I sat here. I actually love sitting in the stand. And it's interesting because I would look at this as if I had one stand on this side of the property to hunt, this might be it. And we've used this stand as such too. We haven't shot anything out of here, but boy, we had a really close call with bow last year. I let 45 go by when he was a 4-year-old 2 years ago, and then shot him last year in another stand, but he was right here with a muzzleloader. We have a water hole here. We're actually taking this water hole out because we have a better water hole spot for it up here that we can use with more wind, better access. And this already has a big food plot right next to it. It's interesting because I'm looking at if I had one stand location, it wouldn't be on the food plot right there. We have a beautiful hunting plot. It's long and narrow. We expanded it this year. Deer go left and right in front of the stand, but it's really hard to get into in the morning. So I would look at that as more of an afternoon only stand location. We get into this stand location though. We can come in through the side, through about a 1/4 acre of switchgrass that's about 5 feet tall already. Dylan and I just walked through it to get in here. We have a mowed trail that comes right through here to get into the stand location. So really hidden access. We have this food plot right here, and then we have a major food plot about 400 yards that way. So we're not coming in by big food where we spook. Yeah, we're coming in through ag land a lot of times where we can either wait for the deer to exit the fields, we can slip in here, which is what we've done with a bike, or when we get out in the evening, we can go look and see if the coast is cleared, and we can go out along the edge behind screening, or we can actually go out through the middle of the ag field. I'd prefer to spook deer out in the middle of the ag field than out for food plots. So pretty good access in and out into the stand location. So we have good access. We're not going through bedding areas to come in. We're not going through a major food source, at least where we define deer movement, to go in and out either. We're watching an X of movement, meaning we have bedding areas that we've created right over here. We have a water hole right over here off the side of the bedding area. We have a major food source that's pushing 3 acres, 2 3/4 acres, about 400 yards away is where it starts. We have this 1/2 acre to 2/3 of an acre food plot right here. We have another small hunting plot next to that with more bedding area created below that hunting plot. So we're between a lot of bedding. We're between food sources and water holes, big food sources, small food sources. And then we have a ditch that goes down below and pinches deer into this area. Now in your area, it might be that this is a thick line of cover and you're hunting the outside edge of it, watching deer and go by with open cover downwind of you, open cover on the other side of the thick brush. Maybe this is a connecting funnel or a bench system within the woods where you're watching a lower flat, it's hilly back here where the stand location is, but it's some type of pinch point. Maybe it's the edge of a swamp where deer are moving along that swamp line. You're watching that edge and you're coming into that location, and that edge features bedding, food on either side, and you're just watching that movement in between. I want to see between food, between bedding, even potentially between water sources. I want to see that constriction of movement, and I want to see a stand that you can get in and out during the morning. Like in this case, we hunt morning. We do that post daybreak stand entrance. I look at that stand entrance for morning stand. If we're waiting for the deer to clear the fields out in the ag fields, then we just come right down into the stand location. I look at that entrance and exit to a stand location, as I don't look at this stand location as any less because we're not getting in here a half hour before daylight or an hour before daylight. I look at things black and white when it comes to morning access, meaning if it's a spot where I can get into safely, away from food in the morning, and once I'm in the stand, my downwind is blowing into a definite non-deer area, meaning non-deer even before daylight, then maybe I'll get there an hour early. If I'm looking at a stand location where when I'm on the stand, my downwind scent can get to a deer right before daylight sometimes. So if I get in there an hour early, I have an hour chance of spooking deer before my hunt even begins. I call that just in time. I'll get that to that stand location just in time. And if I have to go through fields or open area, in this case, not defined food plot areas, we're not coming in through a water hole or a big social area, we're just coming through open fields, then I wait for those deer to clear. We just watch, and then we move into the stand location. I call that a post-daybreak stand entrance. So just in time, post-daybreak, or early. Those are three, and I look at those as black and white. I don't look at the stand as saying, okay, this one's an early stand, so it's better than a post-daybreak, or vice versa. You just look at it black and white, and let the conditions tell you what stand to hunt. The conditions of sign, where you're seeing buck sign, current sign, movement, maybe what your trail cameras are telling you. But bottom line is, I'm looking at how can I get in and out of this stand without spooking deer for either a morning or afternoon hunt. And then is this a convergence and in the middle of a lot of different movements? In this case, we have, minor food plot system, a micro food plot, water hole, big food plot, constructed bedding areas back here, constructed bedding areas over here, and then a pinch point. So I'm looking at all those features coming together. And that gives me that stand location that I can say, you know what, if this is my only stand location that I could have on the property, it has it all. I can hunt it morning for the rut. I can hunt it gun season right here because it's a natural pinch point. It's funny, a lot of my gun season bucks are shot at 25 yards. That's why last year I shot my gun season buck with a bow on the 4th day of gun season, because I like using my bow if it's close quarters like this. But bottom line is, there's a lot of reason for deer to be here. I can hunt this for gun season, bow season. I can hunt it early depending on what patterns I'm seeing. I can hunt it late because it's between a lot of hardwood regeneration and browse for December and into January. So there's a deer, there's a reason, there's a purpose for them to be here. So I have a lot of reasons that I can hunt this all season long. I can hunt it for the rut. I can hunt it for the early season, late season, and most importantly, I can hunt it morning and evening. And what does that make it to? That makes it an all-day stand. Because if it's a great morning stand and a great evening stand, it features that perfect X of movement where I can actually count on sitting in a stand all day and seeing deer and the potential of deer movement all day long. A lot of stands, if we were sitting over on the food plot over there, that's an afternoon stand. I don't want to go in there in the morning and spook deer. Same with a big food plot that I'm watching at a distance with a regneck or a blind or a stand. Those are all afternoon, evening stands. Morning bedding area stand, if it's a typical morning bedding area stand, really hard to get into the afternoon because you don't know where deer are at. If you sat there in the morning, you know where they're at. You can get out when you need to. The bottom line is, there's not a lot of stands that have it all, morning and evening. I hope you understand why this one has it all. I hope you understand why you can get into this in the afternoon, evening, get into it in the morning. It's in between that perfect X. It has a pinch point on the side. And I hope you can understand why if I only had one stand on the property, if you only have one stand, look for those features wherever you hunt. It could be on public land too. You know, that perfect public land spot isn't right in an oak flat. It's between the oak flat and where you expect that buck to bed. It's in a spot that offers a funnel that you can get in and out without spooking deer for morning and afternoon. It's not in the bedding, but it's close. It's not in the food source, but it's close. You're somewhere in between. It's the same features you're looking for, and of course that pinch point too. And it gives you good access in and out without spooking either the bedding areas or the food source. So it doesn't matter if you're hunting public or private land. If you only have one stand and you want to pick it, I hope this makes sense. And again, we apply this to every stand that we put in. How can we get in and out? What kind of pinch point is there? What reason is there for deer to go by that stand? What X of movement is it? And then we're hunting accordingly. And this one has it all. Again, I hope it makes sense to you and that you can apply it to your favorite stand this deer hunting season. Hey folks, I really appreciate you watching, and I want to invite you to check out our main website, whitetailhabitatsolutions.com. I'm going to miss all these, but we have seed to offer, hats, articles, web classes, books, consultations, and even a new podcast. I think we have 17 podcasts out there right now for you to listen to. So we have a lot to offer. Most of all, if you don't want to buy anything, I'm going to keep offering free videos, free articles. We have over 600 articles on the site. And most of all, thank you very much for watching, reading, listening, being a part of Whitetail Habitat Solutions. If you want to check this stuff out, awesome. Links are in the description.